Almost color matching.
Yeah.
Okay, let me give me 1 minute to what I'm doing. First of all, sorry for the delay. So he was, I don't know if did you get to hear it? Basically, he's just not feeling very good. Just like out of commission, really had a shit night, and asked me to step in.
Okay.
I'm just to do a little introduction. I'm just browsing through your application here on the side because it really happened last minute. So I'm checking it out. What do you currently do for work? Data science. Cool. If you could accomplish one extraordinary thing during the time together, what would it be? Self confidence and disciplines, which lead to living more authentically, becoming more productive at work. Cool. How deeply are you committed? And four, have you invested? Awesome. Okay, so you're trying therapy, trying meditation. Um, Two significant challenges: managing your life to align your goals. Okay, awesome. Investment in the program. Hell yes, awesome. Okay, cool. I got you on Instagram. Ah, Brad. How you feeling? First of all, how you feeling that it's not Jordan? You're like, fuck, I wanted to talk to Jordan. Jordan
You
Candlish.
know, no, no biggie. Hopefully the outcome's the same.
Cool. The So a little bit of who I am. I don't know if you're familiar with some of the stuff that you've seen on the path of the program. So I'm the head coach for the program. So he's technically the master coach, and I'm the head coach of the program. Just a little bit of an overview as to who I am, and then a little bit on the program because I know that's what you kind of inquired about. Actually, let me ask that. Start first with that. You're more interested on the men's program, or is it one-on-one coaching that you're interested in?
Probably men's program.
Dope. I love to have you in the men's. The men's program is much better than one-on-one, anyways. No, but jokes aside, so a little bit of the path to men's program. So we started. We've both been doing men's work separately for a few years, and then Jordan and I we've been bros for fucking almost like 5 6 years, a while now. And then last year we got together and we are like, okay, what is it? What is the kind of program that we can create that would be something like extraordinary, something surreal and epic and awesome? And that's where the whole idea of the path came to be. We were really brainstorming as like, what is the unique quality of the men that is like doing the work, that are like constantly on it, that may fell off the wagon, but they're like constantly just delivering, being consistent. And the kind of terminology that we came through was like the sense of like being on the path. That's kind of what we called it, and thus the name of the program. It's the path. It's a state of being, a place that you enter that has specific qualities about it. And we also realized that in doing one-on-one coaching, there's like the two big challenges. Number one, that it's kind of very easy, can lead to like therapy kind of dynamic-y, when you're just kind of like using, it's more like a holding of space of a container that happens when you have a basically an ear and a shoulder to lean on, and the other one was almost like a one-dimensional aspect of it. It's very almost like focused on the self, and it's almost reactive in a way, both the therapy and like the one-on-one coaching. And what we were out to create was like, okay, how do we actually create a a system and a container that can catapult results? And we realized that like brotherhood was a big aspect of it, and then it was like, okay, we need to do like a full container. So before I go into the details of that, I'll tell a little bit about me. So been doing men's work for almost 10 years. I was a pickup. Do you remember the book The Game, by any chance, by Neil
I'm
Strauss?
not familiar. I don't think I've ever read it.
Yeah, there was a whole thing of like the pickup artist world. That was like a whole thing. So that's originally how I got into it. I had my mentor, who was a really incredible dude that was very focused on, you don't actually have to come up with pickup lines and lies as to how to attract more women, as that's one of the main challenges for men. What you have to do is you have to be your most authentic self, your most passionate, purposeful, driven self, and all of your work should be towards that. And something about that just fucking was incredibly magnetizing, and that's the work that I've been doing in the one-on-one coaching. Basically, luring them, luring men to work together through this almost like low-level pursuit, which is chasing tail, um, and then actually in the back coming at them and being like, okay, but actually we're gonna be doing some deep work. We're gonna be going into like deep and deep, to unlock the things that's yeah, to unlock the things that's actually blocking you, rather than just fixing the small issue, giving you like a tactical solution. Let's go into the deeper work.
Mhm.
And then, well, you're familiar with George's work. He's very much focused on the inner trauma, like the not the inner trauma, the inner child stuff, the making sure that you don't step over. Same idea in a different approach, like making sure that the all the blockages of potency are removed and aren't there, so you can just show up fully as who you are, just unapologetically fully as who you are. And that's the work that we've been doing. We just finished the first program, which was unreal. It's so weird to see, because when we did the interviews like this for the first round, we see them and you like see the hesitation and like the just like the quietness.
Yeah.
And by the end of this program, like there's crying, there's calling people out, there's just laughing, there's screaming. It's just unreal, and the amount of brotherhood that comes through, it's super special. Actually, today we're gonna have a big graduation call, so it's gonna be very awesome. Enough about me. We're gonna have a little more time to answer some more questions around myself and the path and other support coaches. But I'd love to hear a little bit about you, if you're down.
Sure. Just kind of like personal journey mostly.
Yeah, I love to hear. So I hear you're computer science. That's dope. I'd love to tell me a little about your work, and if you don't mind expanding on like what are you currently challenged with, what attracted you to George, for example. I would love to. I would like even seeking for a men's program as well, and then your biggest challenge, as in like the place that's leaking the most potency presently in your life.
Yeah. So I guess starting off with just like work, I started off in a field called geographic science or GIS. Kind of focused around what I wanted to do is like environmental work,
Cool.
and environmental analysis with some computer component. And so I started off on that trajectory, and realized like the biggest hang up there was just in terms of like limitations in terms of salary and in career path. And so I was like, how can I pivot and expand? And that's where I stumbled on data science. It kind of is, the same type of work, just more focused on the data rather than the geographical component of data analysis. And so, yeah, moved over into data science, and kind of been working in that world for the past about a year now. So it's been a fairly recent move. And then just like personally, I'd say been over a year and a little bit now that I got out of like a long-term relationship. And after that long-term relationship,
When you say
definitely
long term, how long?
7 years.
7. Oof, my guy. Okay.
Yeah. So after that relationship, obviously it definitely took like a toll, and it was sort of this personal journey that I went through on like how to repair, figure out, become independent again, figure out who I was. Right? And so that was kind of like a long process, and it's ongoing process. Um, but I think that's when I started to realize that I wasn't super happy in the relationship. Despite staying in the relationship, I wasn't the one that broke it off. But yeah, I just wasn't super happy in the relationship. I kind of lost a little bit of myself and my independence, what I love doing. Like sports is a big avenue for me. It's a very therapeutic thing for me, and I do just about any sport possible just to stay active and enjoy. Um, and so, kind of in that process, I started to become, I feel like, more connected as well with even my therapist, who I've been seeing for maybe it's like 2 to 3 years now. Um, and yeah, even recently, like I had a recent session and kind of discovered some new things, and continuing to work through a lot of that. And I know it's kind of like multifaceted. Not sure if this is a big thing to point out, but my therapist is a female, and it would be interesting to kind of be in sort of that, that men's support group type environment,
Yeah.
um, where I can realize what, I can personally work on, and there's sort of that self-reflective aspect as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's been a journey this past year. I mean,
Yeah, because so far in the timeline you've said,
uh-huh,
so it happened at the same time, right? Work and the relationship thing, the change. You
pretty
said a
close,
year ago.
pretty close. It was kind of it kind of just happened out of the blue, actually. Just like a recruiter reached out to me,
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh, are you interested in this job?" It wasn't like me being proactive looking for a job technically.
Cool.
I had a good job at the time, but I definitely got a big bump out of the new role that I'm at. And it's definitely like the avenue that, I'd like to continue in data science. And I think the big scope of things is I'd like to continue looking at, like health, environment, and um, health, environment, and sort of like putting those two things together, and even like agriculture to a certain degree.
Mm,
Um, Pulling those three things together in
cool.
data science, and so that's kind of like my big um, big goal. But even during my long term relationship, I was diagnosed with a couple autoimmune diseases that I had to work through and figure out. Fortunately, now I was able to kind of like adjust my diet and lifestyle to put those into, I guess they call it remission, where it's not seen in the blood work any longer. Um,
Good on you. Fuck yeah, man. I know that I have. I had a guy. We had a guy in the program that had something like that, where it's just like it ruined his mood. Like literally, it would just destroy him. And
yeah,
that's awesome. That we're able to go work through it. That's fucking dope.
yeah, I was diagnosed with like four different things.
Holy
Like,
shit.
yeah, it was kind of a crazy journey. Not sure how familiar you are with autoimmune disease, but it's like Hashimoto's, thyroid autoimmune disease. So if I eat something, my body attacks my thyroid. And then celiac, which is fairly common, right, with gluten sensitivity,
Mm-hmm.
diagnosed with that. Continuing to do work because I just felt like crap, continuing to go to doctors. And then I was diagnosed with something called mastocytic enterocolitis, which is basically like chronic um, chronic allergic reactions in my colon. Um, and then continued to go to the doctor. And then they found that I had something called Rocky Mountain spotted fever, which was sort of like a tick-borne disease. So,
Shit.
yeah, so I took some antibiotics for that, kind of like step by step, figuring out, diet again and lifestyle and how to work through all that while continuing to try to work. That was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
big
yeah.
thing. So
It's all very gut related, if I'm right. Not the thyroid, but the rest of the other ones you were saying. They're very like kind of.
even the thyroid, it all autoimmune disease all has to do with the gut lining, and that's the biggest thing is when you ingest something, there's proteins that you aren't breaking down that get
Mm,
into the bloodstream, and your
mm,
body reacts
right.
to whatever proteins gotten into the bloodstream, and it thinks it's some type of foreign invader, I guess.
Holy shit. Holy shit. And this is also, as you were saying, towards the end of your relationship. So it's pretty recent then. This whole thing has been peaking.
Uh, I would say that was about 5 years ago, that health journey and me working through that. I'd say 2 years ago, it kind of got in under control. And then within the past year, I think I've definitely made some big strides. And um, even before the ending of my relationship, it was shown in my blood work that I put it into remission and things like that. So um, yeah, definitely a positive step forward.
Damn, damn. Well, I feel for you, and I'm happy, man, because yeah, like I said, I know a few people that struggle with that shit, and it's like debilitating. Well, it
Oh,
can be really debilitating.
yeah,
Good on you. Good on you, though. It's awesome.
appreciate
Okay, so I hear awesome. So career, working with the therapist. You said last 3 years,
it.
right? Like last 3 years, and then the health things as well, plus the relationship on top of it all. Just big
Yeah.
sugar coat. So what kind of brought you into the men's work? What kind of what is the I guess what is the ultimate expression of that challenge that was like that it's becoming like the tipping point for you?
I think I think a lot of it's just like continuing to like push myself to be the best person that I can be in sort of all different aspects. I think one big interesting thing that I haven't done a lot of work in is like the spiritual side of things. I wouldn't say I'm like necessarily the most religious person, but I guess we
Mhm.
can kind of separate spiritual and religious a little bit. And so, yeah, I haven't really gone down that avenue at all. I've definitely done, just like personal, physical improvement, and then
Yeah.
also, psychological through therapy and also some of my own, inner work, I guess.
That's so special, dude. Like that in itself, I feel like is a little bit of a spiritual calling. That's right there. That's your soul or spirit or whatever you want to call it. Just like whispering it in your ear, being like, "Psst, hey, psst, hey, hey," because you could be here like just strong atheist, and you're like, "Psst, hey, I'm coming for you." It's amazing. That's good. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. What triggered that? I'm really curious. What? Because I feel like spiritual yeah, spiritual longing in itself, if you ask me, I'll be like, that is literally spirit kind of calling you forth in some sort of way. Was it something, a specific thing that kind of triggered it?
Uh, I wouldn't, I don't know. Again, read a lot of different books on like personal improvement and things like that. Um, I think it was just like consistently hearing about it
Right.
and realizing that that was some avenue that I wasn't really working on.
Hmm. Yeah. Did you hear about it in the psychedelic realm, or did you hear about it in the religious realm?
A little bit of both.
Hmm.
I was raised Christian, I guess. And yeah, I just feel like that's definitely like an aspect of my life that I don't even really know how to necessarily navigate, so to speak. So yeah, again, it's kind of just like something that's still probably fairly new to me. Um, and definitely curious about it. Along with like how it kind of improves those other things, right? The psychological, the physical,
Of
and
course, of
stuff like
course,
that.
of
So
course, of
how
course.
the carryover all happens. And so it's definitely like a curiosity thing for me. Um, and yeah, definitely heard about a little bit through, well, I guess technically I was diagnosed with five different things, depression being another one. Um, my therapist has been comfortable enough to, she was like, you don't have to continue coming to these. So I guess that puts me at like a good place where maybe depression isn't so much of a concern anymore. Um, but definitely, again, reading a lot of things about health and so forth, you definitely stumble upon, psychedelic use and how
Of
that affects.
course.
So um, definitely have hesitation around it. And I did read like Michael Pollan's book about that and how it's pretty grounded. And that's what I appreciate about it.
Yeah.
I always appreciate sort of his writings and definitely a smart guy. And so,
Yeah, because I can imagine your scientist brain is probably struggling to be like, wait, what? What's the data behind all the spiritual stuff? And it's like, nope, there is none.
yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. Wow, man. I've okay. One thing I don't want to step over is that you were saying that you were struggling with depression. That was something that come up, and I fucking first of all that sucks, and secondly, I can only imagine because if you're having all this like physical struggles that you're going through is like I can only imagine um the yeah the mental ramifications of all that, like just your sense of self, your temperament, your mood are so literally all of it, the way you feel about yourself based just turns to your inner compass that is the body. So if that is skewed, obviously you can have other shit. So I'm
Right.
happy, really happy to hear you got that under control. And man, it's a real thing that comes up, I think, for us men. It's the silent killer of men. It's depression, right? This
Right.
like inner thing. We were just talking because one of the things that did the trigger for us to come together in this program is Jordan and I were planning. We've done retreats in the past, and we were planning to do a retreat in Bali. And the guy that we were gonna get to be one of the coaches, he passed away. One of his best friends passed away, and it wasn't depression, but it was someone really close that was had come out of like men's health issues, and it's just been always part of our periphery. Yesterday, he had someone else that he just found out that had killed themselves, and I was like, oh my god, man, like just at least for us from like doing this work, it's like it just reminds us that it's like so much more bigger than like hopping on Zoom calls. Like we're out here looking out for each other and like choosing to look out for each other, because otherwise it's so easy to self isolate and go into these fucking holes where you just get lost and you don't know what to do with yourself. And that is the motivating force behind what we do, and the support coaches and everybody that's on board. It's just to, yeah, that sense of being on the path together, right? It's again not doing it alone, but like doing it together. So what would be in currently where you're at, and now with this kind of clarity, doesn't matter, including the fact that I understand that you're still kind of I'm sure grieving from your relationship, even though you've had a long time to process it. So the program is like a 4-month program. If I was to give you, let's say, January, right? So Christmas just happened, spend time with your family, and as you step into that place of like, holy shit, I took this massive leap of faith. What is waiting for you? What are you excited about on the other side? So now I'm talking January 2024. What are some of the like ways in which your life you would be like, wow, this area of my life is here, this area of my life is here for yourself,
Sure.
that you'd be excited about, that you'd be inspired about, motivated, moved by?
Yeah, I think one of the big things is um, finding ways to like connect with like similar minded people. I think a lot of my friendships right now are people that I grew up with. Um, and I definitely find myself from time to time, with differences on things, on aspects like this. And
Hmm.
even even like I had hesitancy, right, going through my health journey, even telling them about autoimmune disease just because of
Right.
their kids on things like that.
Hmm.
Um, so I think it's like the realization of that, and also the realization like I've never really been into like the full on like going out culture, I guess, so to speak, and like excessive like drinking and things like that. I do partake in it sometimes, but it's again, that's like one other avenue of socialization, and that's
Right.
um something I'd like to like maybe cut down a little bit on and not rely so much on socialization through drinking and going out at night and staying up late and things like that.
Yeah. Does it mess with your health too? Like, do you get allergic reactions to specific boosts?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the next day, you don't feel great. Your sleep is just crap. And a lot of other things. And sometimes it carries over into 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Bad it was. Um, and I also feel like, not me personally, but some people use it to, to use the word like self-medicate in a way, but kind of in a way.
Yeah.
Um,
Between numbing, escaping, and yeah, it's just like self-medication to
yeah.
numb yourself from the realities of life. Absolutely. I was I was sober for since I was 24 until last year. 24, 25 until last year. I just started drinking again last year, and I don't miss it, but it was fucking amazing to sober it up. Um, and I think one of the biggest things, first of all, the way you're approaching it is like the build, right? It's like there's such a potency charge. It builds your body, it builds your mind, it builds your focus. The repercussions and the impacts are so vast that it just doesn't make any sense. And even from a social perspective, I realize, and I fucking resonate with what you're saying, because it's like, how is that the only way to connect with someone? Like, this is just like a shallow, deep way. And it's like,
Right.
and that's the standard for all of us, right? Um, good on you. Good on you. Good on you. Yeah, the guys in the program, there's a little bit of everything when it comes to we call it toxic, right? Like the ways that we get toxic, the shit that's taking our lives away. And we had a couple of fellows with some serious drug addictions. We had a dad was a child that had some serious drug addictions. They got rid of that. And I'll tell you more when I start talking about the program, because it's actually one of the assignments. There's a behavior that we take on the week 2, where what's the most toxic thing that's taking your life away, whether or not you're jerking off, drinking, vaping, all that shit. We cut it out for the duration of the program and have an accountability system around it, which is pretty dope. So back to the conversation. So the ways in which your life. So you're saying joining a group where like you're actually connecting in a deep way, having that be. I'm assuming that you want it to be like, this is my baseline, just like high caliber relationships, where it's like the epic conversations, epic dialogues, where it's like fulfilling and not this shallow connecting.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Anything else? You can look at other areas of your life too. Doesn't just have to be there.
Again, I think going back to like the spiritual component and not knowing how to, you know, look at that. But then also, so someone else to have like accountability for me too, like not necessarily me, but like giving me accountability and things that I need to be proactive on. And like sometimes, we get so focused on our lives that we don't realize the things that we're getting into, or the patterns that we recreate without talking to somebody else, or even just like a group of people that can point out those things. So yeah, just like accountability, I think to a certain degree, outside just myself, because I think we all stand from like, we beat ourselves up enough. It's good to get like positive and constructive criticism from other people. So.
Yeah, we're the worst policing for ourselves. Worst policing for ourselves. Where are you located, by the way?
East Coast of the United States, right in like the Washington D.C. area, Northern Virginia.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Fucking yeah, Brad. That's really good to hear. You ready for me to share some more about the program? And I just kind of plug it in?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I am going to recreate the last thing you said, but I want to make sure I got this. So we're going through. This is a little document that we go through. It's like our internal thing. It's really not the sales pitch. It's more so think about it like literally going over the details to make sure that you can clear on what's included. Okay, let me just share my screen. How are you doing for time, by the way? Because I know I was running a little bit late on managing this.
Doing okay on time. No worries.
Perfect. You good to extend it for, so it's 11:30. We're good to extend it to 12:30. Do a time check there.
I guess we're in different time zones. So another 25 minutes, you're saying?
Correcto.
Yeah, that's fine.
Correcto. Okay. Awesome. So the path, that's what it's called. And you see my screen, yeah?
Yep. Yeah.
We fucking talked about this so long, so forgive me if I'm gonna skip some things. Don't get too stuck on reading, but if you do want to read, just let me know, because there's a couple of juices in there. The whole promise here is to unleash full power in all areas of life. And the reason why we're focusing on like all areas of life is because we realize that part of the self-help aspect of it is that it has us stuck in this like mental masturbation realm where we just hyper focus on the self, and a lot of times we're the worst person to direct ourselves because we're so focused on what we're doing. So in a way, we're expediting learning, we're expediting the work here so that you don't have to be doing other things, and you just like dive in as deep as possible. The program consists of, it's technically 12 weeks of work, but there's breaks in between, which I'm going to tell you later. And it's a mix of live training, weekly coaching, pre-recorded sessions, and assignments, and accountability calls. And we'll talk some more about them. And very specifically, it consists of, well, dudes like you, man, that are like pretty well established, and the high achieving, they want more. So it's like there's the high caliber of like I'm seeking for more, but also not from a place of like scarcity, but like I'm good where I'm at, but I want more. And I'm ready to take on something next, while at the same time I want to connect with others that are in a similar place. Um, Here's where like some of the issues that we see here is obviously here we even wrote it. Remember, you were describing like the drinking. We realize this is one of the key features, right? You're going about your life, but then come to toxicity. That's like the way that we kind of numb the thinking that is like, I'm not really happy with my life, or there must be something else. So we're like gonna create a safe space where you can embrace all that. Some of the other shit that we're gonna be dealing with is like embracing the deep darkness inside of all of us, the wounds. Some of what's in it for us is removing the vices. No more lone wolfing. I think that was a big one, and everybody can probably agree on that. As you lone wolf, then you obviously start to overcome the depression and the anxiety, because the biggest issue with men's work, and this is already some coaching that is pretty much flat out for everybody that's doing this kind of work, is you want to avoid self-isolation. The moment we isolate, that's danger zone. Like Archie would say, danger zone. That's literally what we want to stay away from. And by joining a group of men, this is what just doesn't. We're basically creating a container so that that doesn't happen, reducing the opportunity for that to happen. Remember at the beginning of the call, I told you like the sense of like what it means to be on the path.
Yeah.
So this is kind of where we came together. We're like, okay, what does it mean to be on the path? How do we determine this as that's like the dream promise? So we recognize it by the presence of the following things: willpower, determination, physical strength, self-confidence, belief in yourself, emotional groundedness, sexual stamina, mental focus, creative inspiration, a sense of alignment, regenerative drive, a positive outlook on life, integrity, unstoppable action, and then real momentum of results. The real momentum of results meaning you can clearly detect that I feel like I'm on the path. And then by the end of this program, whether or not you fall back into previous habits, you will be familiar with a sense of what it means to be like this. I felt like I was on the path. I took on a lot and I was able to either fail or succeed, but I know what it means to at least glimpse at all these areas. And that's really the promise, man. When we set this shit out, we're like, we're going to deliver on this. That's the dream. There's 3 pillars, the way that we do this. This is how we stay all connected and driven behind the mission that we're doing. Truth, the constant pursuit of truth. So we gather to basically find what is the truth of all things, the truth of ourselves, the truth of life, the truth of character, and all these areas that we look for in life. Potency, which means we're going to be looking into ourselves and how do we basically remove the things that are sucking potency out of us and then place new things so that we have a surplus of potency in our lives, right? So that we're actually not like, ugh, like this, but we're just constantly like, oh shit, next thing. And then brotherhood, which is a circle that really wraps it all together in the form of accountability, right? Because otherwise it's very easy. Again, if we're self-policing and lone wolfing, then it doesn't work. So you need someone to hold that space for you to say, hey, remember you said you were going to do this? How's that going? Remember you said you're going to stop doing that? How's that going? Cool. So now the content of the program. So it's broken down amongst 12 weeks, 12 domains of work. This is the 12 domains. Okay. We start at the top with vision. And then it moves. Vision, awareness, emotional, spirituality, health, movement, mind, character, family, relationships, money, and work. Each week, we do the following. There's a domain pre-recording. So Jordan and I last year got together, recorded videos for like 20 to 30 minutes. You watch those in advance. And the reason for the pre-recording is so that we're basically keeping you on, almost like put you on the loop of some key concepts that we're then going to explore on the live training. So you know this if you're into self-development, right? Like if we hop into a social conversation and I have to tell you about the benefit of magnesium, I can't tell you about the ways to hack magnesium in my daily life because I have to explain to you why magnesium is good for you. You get that? And so the pre-recording selves, in that way, a purpose. We introduce a bunch of things so that in advance, by the time we're all on the live training, everybody's on the same page. We're all at least like baseline concepts, baseline explorations. That happens on Zoom. If you can't attend that call, you get a pre-recording. That's with Jordan, myself, and sometimes some of the other coaches are also going to host it. So we're going to be taking turns around it. Then you also get a weekly micro call. So that happens. You're going to be, Jordan personally allocates you guys within the coach that's going to support you best and the group, a container that's going to support you best. And then on a weekly basis, you have a call that's to support you, A, personally, and then B, on the assignment, that week's domain. So back to the expediting, instead of exploring a bunch of things and trying to catch on this book, here is like, okay, we're going to talk about vision and let's go deep. Let's talk about everything, that what does it mean to have a clear vision for my life, etc., etc. And in the same way for each one of the weeks. Each week comes with an assignment and a challenge. Right now there's a Telegram support channel, but we're on our way to purchase a really fucking dope learning platform that has scorecards. And the intention behind this scorecard is that if you do your assignments, you're gonna get coaching credits. So it's basically an incentive for you to just like do the assignment as fast as possible, because there's slots for credits for coaching that you can reuse. You can use it with myself, you can use it with Jordan, you can use it with your support coach, and it's just a way to just incentivize more and more results. This is the program cadence. Every phase there's an integration week. That's why it's 16 weeks, because we have a little bit of a break in between in case you're falling behind and you want to catch up with your assignments. The way it's broken down is the first 4 weeks are what we call clearing. So that's basically getting really clear on yourself, clear on your vision, awareness, basically all the things that are stopping you, that are blocking you. There's a bunch of exercises, breath work, guided meditations on that. The emotional, we do a lot of emotional, like inner child work. But here's the big difference. There's actually difficult conversations that we're going to be doing in there that you coach through with a specific framework to have difficult conversations that you can release the emotional things that are holding you back. Spirituality, which is a very special for us. And I'm actually very happy that you brought it up, because it was a big shift for us when we were doing this program, because we realized that eventually, you're doing all this self-help, you're trying to level up your life, but if you remove all these things, the pillars, and you can be left with this like empty sense of life, right? You can well, why am I doing all this work? So there's a deeper conversation to be had about the source of life, the source of truth, like capital T truth. Where are we heading? Where are we going? And so in that week is really special, because I don't know if you know Jordan's story, but Jordan has done a bunch of ceremonies. I've done a bunch of ceremonies. Most of the support coaches have also done some sort of psychedelic deep experience. Jordan and I have hosted psychedelic experience. So we come from a bunch of exploring in that realm, but now with a new discovery and a new relationship with God, where we're like, fuck psychedelics, and let's actually find out God in a sober way. Let's find out what's God's work, and let's have like difficult conversations around it. Let's actually talk about the nature of religion. What are the benefits about it? What are the downsides about it? How do we connect God in a way that it's connected to what? That it's connected with ourselves, that it makes sense to us? How do we connect to prayer? In there, I'm gonna give you a little juice. So in the spirituality week, we do a spiritual fast, which is a really intense fast where we do a 24-hour fast, and it's an offering basically to connect with God. You're basically offering the work that you do, the food that you eat, and instead of relying on the self and like my own willpower to do that, we're actually going to use it as an opportunity, as a window to feel the love, to feel the connection from a greater power, to feed us, to give us life force, and see what comes up on the other side. That was one of the most exciting weeks in the last program. Everybody got so much out of it. We were like all posting updates on the video, like I'm fucking dying here, and then sharing prayers, sharing love, and the appreciation of what God looks like for us. So I feel like that you're gonna get a lot of that one. Health, movement, mind. For example, a really solid one that I love. That's my domain. It's character. So we do a lot of coaching on integrity, which is some really, really fucking solid breakthroughs on integrity. Health, I'm sure you're going to have a lot to say about that. We share a lot of like hacks in terms of like living and maximizing your potency with supplements, and the strong regimen, routines, and practices that we do in our lives to basically raise the standard, so that, okay, this is now my new health standard, and everybody's held to that standard. That's building, and then we end up with expanding. So you clear, you build a new foundation, and then we expand. Expansion, obviously, family, relationships, money, and work, because these are all now expressions of ourselves in the areas of others. Work is the value that we bring to the table in a dynamic. Money is the value that we're getting in exchange for that dynamic. Relationship, we talk about romantic relationship and also the brotherhood container that we're in. Family, actually clearing up the emotional blockages and the traumas that we may have in that area. And then character is the reason why it's before that, or this way, before that, is because we're going to build a new relationship with your word, a new relationship with who you are. And it's very important that those outside of you in the expansion, that new relationship, they're the ones that are going to get the impact of all this work that you're doing, right? They have to be related to you as like, wow, something shifted in you. Your reputation shifted, your credibility, the meaning of your word and what you say you stand for and what you can deliver and cannot deliver on as now. It's like they should be impacted by the result of all this work, right? So that's why I put it at the end. I'm not going to get into the specifics of this one, but you can see, so it's broken down per week. Each week gets an assignment. And this is the weekly tempo. So this is just an example of the work and the way that we do it. So during the week, Monday to Friday, you're doing your assignments and you're having your weekly gatherings where you self-coordinate with your group and you're having it on a weekly basis. You watch your pre-recording before the weekend, and then most likely on the weekend is when we're going to join in. We're all going to tune in together. The massive group comes in back again, and we explore the domain. Sets up the week, and we start over, and start over, and start over. Not start over, and keep going, and keep going. Week, domain after domain. Is that kind of clear so far?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Awesome. Any questions?
No,
Any
not
questions so far?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, the Brotherhood. So the Brotherhood is all these high caliber dudes coming together. And the reason why we believe is this is distinct from the coaching is because, again, the container that comes together with the accountability, with the opportunity for you to actually coach others and be coached, be called out. Some of the guys here are like taking on, man, they took on like breathwork challenges, ice baths are were happening weekly. Everybody gets set up with an accountability partner so that you have someone that's like constantly checking in on you and you're supporting one another before and during before your calls and assignments, but also during the entire program. And the whole thing is like there's no man left behind. The purpose here is that, in a way, break through this thing of focusing on yourself and actually be of service to others as well, right? So it's like you're doing both. You're focusing on yourself, but at the same time, the problem with all the self-work is it's a focus on the self. You gotta focus on the other. You gotta surrender and be of service. So that's the container. A big opportunity for you to actually put in. There's some areas that you have mastery in the 12 domains. That's where you get to contribute to others. And if you weaken some others, that's where you get to receive from others. Mm-hmm. This is us. This is the leadership program. So Jordan right at the top, coaching.
I'm still seeing the Path 12-week program image.
Say it again.
I'm still seeing like the Path the 12-week program image. Are you showing new content?
No way. Have you not been seeing the whole thing? Oh fuck. Shit. I think because I have two tabs open, I think we haven't been seeing the same thing. Holy shit.
That's the one. The one that
Oh fuck.
I was like,
oh fuck.
Just the envision.
Oh my god. Okay. Oh my god. Oh shit. My bad. Because I had two tabs open. Fuck. Okay. Look. Let's scroll quickly. And thanks for bringing it up. Imagine you go all the way down. You're like, I'm still seeing the banner. Holy shit. Okay. So that's what you're like. This guy's just talking. Okay. So I'm gonna scroll slowly. You see?
Yeah.
So this is like where I got all. Imagine I had just like. Imagine I was just winging that shit on the top of my mind. That would be very impressive. So yeah. So that's what it means to be on the path. This is the pillars, right? It's a truth, potency, brotherhood. The content. Check it out. No, you can see it, right? You're seeing the diagram?
Yeah.
Okay, fucking dope. Yeah, so that's
just a time update too. I do have to jump at one or like 9 minutes from now.
Perfect. Thank you. I'll speed it up. Yeah, so that's the 12 domains. That's the phasing that I was describing. You see it?
Yeah.
Perfect. That's the phase I was going through. This is the cadence that I was telling you about. That's a weekly tempo.
Okay. Yeah.
I was just here in Brotherhood. So I was just finishing that.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that's us. Ryan, ex-pro rugby player. Danny, semi-pro rugby player. Freddie, semi-pro hockey player. So a lot of really dope dude. Mikey, even though is the young lad. The young lad runs the largest ice bath company in Canada. He's like a fucking stallion of a dude. Has been doing the work for a while, and basically they're gonna be managing the micro units and making sure that the weekly gatherings are happening. And then we're going to be delivering on the head coaching. So you're getting head coaching on 2 tiers. You're getting head coaching on the weekends, on the live training, and then you're getting coaching on your weekly gatherings as well with them, where they're there to support you. This is a little summary of everything that you're getting: the live training, hot seat coaching, personal coaching, support gatherings, a bunch of the sharing space that happens inside of that. There's a potency and performance tracking. So there's a tool that we have. So you get a performance tracking every end of each phase. See how you're doing in every area of life and how the development is going. The domains. On the relationship ones, we have a little bonus on the 4 pillars of sexual confidence. The journaling task, which is like the inner work, and then the outer assignments, which is assignments you go out into the world to do. You also get gifted a high performance planner hardback, which I don't have it here, but it's basically a tool for organizing your life for productivity. Jordan has been using it for years, and so that comes with your purchase as well. And the scorecards is what I was telling you, which you exchange for coaching credits and whatnot. What is the effort and the sacrifice required? So kind of what's expected, obviously time management skills, effective scheduling. The more you put in, the more you get out of it. So attending all the assignments, completing all the assignments, willingness to be uncomfortable. That looks like basically every coaching opportunity there is. Just fucking raise your hand. Like, I want to, even if you don't have a question, just like, I want to ask as many questions. Willingness to be seen, to be uncomfortable, to share, to get vulnerable, to being coachable and receiving coaching that may be uncomfortable to receive, and also to give coaching as well. Actual time commitment, you're looking at like 3 hours a week. Okay, 3 hours a week on average. You get 20 minutes to 30 minutes of pre-recording, 90 minutes of the coaching in the weekend, 60 minutes of your weekly gathering, and then we're just like allocating another hour or so for your assignments. Again, that's like your baseline, 3 to 4 hours. The more you put in, the more you get out of it. Program dates. So it starts in July. So that's like the last week of July, but that is also the week 0. Okay, so you do have like the one more week to move from there. And the program is basically this elite membership. So the basic membership is where you participate. As the pricing starts at $34.59, that includes everything on the program. And then the elite membership, it basically gives you, number one, before we start the program, you have access to Jordan's Men's Embodiment Academy. So that way you can just like get on doing some work on the stuff that, which is a course that he has prepared in the back. And then you get 2 coaching credits that you can use at whatever time, a 90-minute session with either myself or Jordan, and you can allocate them accordingly as you want throughout the program. So there's $1,000 more for those 2. Either way, if you, we have already 8 dudes that signed up for the path for the next round. And what we've been doing to set you guys up is we do bi-weekly group coaching. So we already had a couple sessions. So we're already kind of getting the ball rolling, exploring some of the domains, giving some specific coaching so that you don't have to feel like you invest now and then you have to wait a couple months till the beginning of this. We're getting to work right away. Okay. There's payment plans available as well. Kind of split into different. Obviously, if you do a full payment, there's specific savings. And how am I doing for time? Got 4 minutes. Fucking power into this shit. I got a bunch of frequently asked questions that we can scroll through, but I'm gonna take a breath, slow down because it's been a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's been a lot. So I'm gonna put it in. Yeah, you can tell me where to scroll. I'm gonna take 4 minutes just to slow down. Tell me what's coming through you. It was a lot that I laid on you and didn't stop as much to hear from you.
Yeah, no, I definitely appreciate all that. Just trying to like understand too, like what, for instance, what goes on during those, weekly one-on-one coaching sessions, and then also, so is there one that's like a group?
Yes. So
Yeah.
the coaching, there's a map. All program comes together for the live trainings, which is led by myself and Jordan, or sometimes one of us. And then you also have a weekly micro gathering. So that happens with a group of like 8 to 10 dudes that that's gonna be your brothers in arms, the really brothers in arms you're gonna be growing with.
Mm-hmm.
In both of them, you get opportunities for coaching. Both of them, you get opportunities for coaching. I would say the main area of focus is that, and by the way, the coaching is divided also in almost like 2 different segments on the call. So you got the coaching on the domain. So if there's something that's coming up specifically on the domain that we're exploring that week, there's like 20 minutes of coaching around that. Raise your hands, get the credit to get an open spot. And then there's coaching on life. So if you have something personal that's coming up for you, there's also 20 minutes to explore that on the live training call and get as much coaching from everybody as possible. Yeah. Something I'm missing here is like there's weekly breath work. So one of the things that, in case the schedule doesn't work for you to join your micro unit, you can join another micro unit to kind of make up for that week. And different coaches will host different things. If you wanted to take on the 4 micro units, you can get the most out of this program. Just attend all the micro units. You're allocated into your micro group, but if you want to do 4 micro units and then your weekly call, you can totally do that. There's breath works that are happening at the beginning of every call. There's specific practices and very specific kind of like, processing tools. Just like shame release exercises that sometimes they'll be held. There's very specific kinds of meditations that will be featured on each one of the domains. And so every week is like something new and exciting coming up. Every week is something new and exciting coming up.
Yeah, I do have to jump here. It looks like they just started up the meeting. Definitely appreciate you going through all that. That's awesome.
My pleasure.
Who do I reach back out to?
Jord, he's actually right upstairs. He's just napping. Yeah, he's actually just right upstairs. So why don't we pin this, connect to him. You can speak to him directly. He's the one that asked me to step into the call for you. So reach out, send him more questions. He can take it from him. I'm going to debrief him based on our conversation. I'll tell him what you shared. I told him what I shared with you. Obviously, it's not the end of the conversation. If bring up the questions with him, and I'm sure he'll be more than happy to take it on. Maybe he'll put us in a group so that there's 3 of us and just kind of keep the whole loop. Because I think there's like a men's group like this. Fuck, I think it'd be really, really special to have you.
Yeah.
I know I'm like rushing to this because it's like the end of it, but the fact that you like reached out and are excited, we're looking for men like you. So if this is something that you want to know some more, man, please ask us more questions. We rushed this, but we'd love to have you on board.
Yeah, appreciate that. Definitely appreciate connecting with you. And I'll be in touch.
Yeah. Thank you, Brad. Thanks for sharing and opening up, man. Excited to hear back from you.
Yep, absolutely.
Ciao. Have a good rest of your day, eh?
Yep, take care.
Bye.